Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Wednesday, December the 20th, 2023. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Hey, before I go any further, I would like for each and every one of you, whether you're a returning listener or a new listener or a subscriber, hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts along with that bell. Hey, there's going to be a lot of interesting topics I am going to talk about. Some may be good to you, some may not. Some of you may agree, some of you may not agree. Whatever the case, hey, hit that like and subscribe button and that bell also so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. And also, get in that comment section. Let me know what you think. Like I said, whether yay or nay, hey, I'm pretty thick skinned. I won't bite. I won't bite. We're all adults. We can all carry on an adult, intelligent conversation or debate without getting downright belittling and belligerent. Mm. Hey, let's move along here. Today's word of the day, xenophobia, which means a fear of anything strange or foreign. Xenophobia. Hope everyone is enjoying this Wednesday midweek swing. End of the work week is almost here. Halfway through. Keep pushing along. Man, I just thought about it. It's 5 more days until Christmas. Wow. Yeah, certainly is that time of year. End of the year also. Man, it's winding down. Just unbelievable. Where did the time go? But like always, it always has to run out. It always has to end. But yeah, 5 more days to Christmas. Wow. That's unbelievable. The years that zoom by once again. It seems like the older I get, the more time flies. Maybe it has something to do with age, or maybe it's just we are trying to cram so much into one 24-hour day that it continuously just zooms by. But whatever the case may be, 5 more days to Christmas. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. A very Merry Christmas, and then right around the corner is New Year also. So wow, end of the year is here. End of the year is here. But yeah, I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. And hey, enjoy yourself. Enjoy if you got time off. Enjoy your time off. Enjoy your family, friends, or whatever, what have you. Just enjoy yourself. All right, let's move along here, man. Let's talk about some football. Monday night football, a shocker. The Seattle Seahawks defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 20 to 17. Why, what in the world happened? Yeah, you heard me right. And I'm sure by now many of you know the Eagles lost Monday night. They did not look too good. I gotta admit. I just have to admit. Jalen Hurts, man, I believe Jalen Hurts is hurting more than he's putting on. You know, he had a knee injury sometime during the season, and he came back a week or so later, and it looked like he was back in rare form. But as the season winds down, you can tell something's off. He's not running like he used to. He's just not. Uh, 17 of 31 passing and 143 yards and 2 interceptions. Wow. He was off his game Monday night. But the player of the game, or the surprise of the game, was from Seattle Seahawks, a young quarterback by the name of Locke. He was the backup to Bridgewater. Terry Bridgewater, by the way, has announced that or hinted at, he's going to retire at the end of the year. Many of you may not know Bridgewater. He's somewhat of a journeyman. He's been around the NFL. Has gone from several teams. His quarterback, and I think he's a good quarterback. If you get with the right personnel, whatever, what have you, he quite possibly could be a top quarterback. But many say he's not. He's just a backup or a fill-in when certain players get star players get hurt. He comes in. He does fairly well. But yeah, he's hitting at retirement. But back to this star and surprise star of the game, Luck. He was 22 of 33 in passing, 208 yards and 1 touchdown. He put on a show. Wasn't expected. Like I said, he's a backup to Bridgewater. They bought him in. Bridgewater wasn't doing so well, so they bought him in. And Monday night, he looked pretty good. I mean, he was doing all his reads, all his check downs. He exploited that Philly defense. Like I said, he had 208 yards. If you're saying 208 yards ain't nothing, but you got to consider this guy was a backup. This is what, his first or maybe second game being a starter. He looked pretty good. Is he the future of Seattle? Time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah, Philly. Oh wow. Like I said, I just believe Jalen Hurts is hurting more, or is hurt more than he's putting on. He is that type of player. He's going to grind through the pain, but man, it's not looking good. And of course, you know those Dallas Cowboy faithful. Oh, how they started up. Oh, rah, rah, shish, boom, bah. The Eagles are sorry. They're this, they're that. They're losing. We told you they weren't that. We're the best in the NFC. Yada, yada, yada. Rah, rah, rah. We're the best in the NFL. Guys. Y'all ain't the best in the NFC. Y'all are not the best in the NFL. And you're not going to the Super Bowl. This ain't your year. This ain't your year. Sorry, not sorry. But man, I guess we're going to have to wait and see about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles to see if they can get it together in time for the playoffs and make that run and quite possibly go back to the Super Bowl. Who knows? Who knows? We will see. We will see. All right, let's move along here, man. Some let's do some local news here. Looks like the Shot Spotter system that was introduced to Durham late last year, this year. That's the system that police use to it detects gunshots, and so it gives the police a faster response time to get to these scenes of gunshots. And looks like Durham City Council Monday night by a vote of 4-2, they decided to end the shot spotter system. What in the world? They ended the shot spotter system because they said that they wanted to collect some more data, and that the funds that is being put into the shot spotter system, because I believe if it was going to continue, it was going to require additional funding. So certain members of the city council have said, hey, that money can go elsewhere. It could be used for programs, after school programs, help with the food insecurities in these marginalized communities, and it can also help with those youth that are given more activities to do. We could put funding into more programs where they're not hanging around, doing this, that, or whatever. Understandably, understand it wholeheartedly. Yes, funds could be used better, but I may be going out on this proverbial limb like I always am. Even though I am a minority and a male, um, I don't think this is the time to end the shot spotter system. Um, I know they're saying crime is down. The DA, she came out and she announced that she's running for state attorney general, and she came out and the official crime report given by the police chief said crime was up, aggravated assaults were up, gun violence was up, but she came out. The soon a hopeful state's attorney general, DA here in Durham, came out and said, no, no, my numbers are saying that the crime is down, conviction rates are down for those that commit these heinous acts, and what actually is where they're quite possibly could be getting this information from is she's saying, hey, crime is down because the felons that she convicts, or the felons that she horns in and target in on, are those that do high level crimes or high level felonies. So therefore, across the board, crime is down. And then you have the city council that decides that, hey, we're going to put that funding somewhere else. They voted 4-2 and decided to end the shot spotter system for 3 months anyway, while they collect more data to see if it is worthy of the additional funding. Now, the newly elected Durham mayor, Leo Williams, he told the city council to vote their conscience, and he voted to keep the shot spotter system. You know, he said, "Hey, of course, there's been some instances that the shot spotter system has worked. We've gotten to the scene of the crimes a whole lot faster, and we helped some people. Might even have saved lives. But those other four members on that city council, I don't know who the additional person was that voted with him to keep that shot spotter system, but apparently they're saying no, there's no need. We need to look at it some more and divert funding elsewhere to help with the youth in the community that are struggling to find something to do." Now, according to the data from the Durham Police Department, the technology has a 95% effective rate. Another thing that came up was there was an incident at a strip mall here in Durham sometime last year, this year, where they had shot spotter sensors around, but the shot spotter system didn't pick up because the shots were fired from inside of a car. It was a drive-by, so apparently it doesn't detect gunfire from inside of a vehicle. You have to be outside the vehicle. So that's one of the things that those that voted, against or voted against the shot spotter system is one of the things they called out. They also called out that it may fairly target those underserved minorities. It's another way to pigeonhole, stereotype, or whatever, or what have you. Listen, I'm not being funny, and I know we've all heard this before, and we've all said it to ourselves because I've said it. Let's be honest with you. Um, why was the shot spotter system needed again? Why are these sensors up around town in certain areas and communities and neighborhoods? Because of the gun violence. Citizens are afraid to come outside. Some citizens, it's an old thing or old saying or a old known fact that a lot of times in these communities where there's constant gunfire and drive-bys or whatever, what have you, a lot of the citizens, they sit on the floor, sleep on the floor. So again, I ask, why was this shot spotter system needed so much? Why were these sensors put up in these marginalized communities where there's a high level of gun violence? That's your reason right there. Me personally, I don't think it needs to be done away with. I think it needs to stay. If it requires additional funding, so be it. Um, if you're of the mindset and you're saying to yourself, yeah, it does need to go away, that money can go elsewhere. Um, that money, it, it was used for this shot spotter system. And I understand that they're saying the money could go elsewhere, but that money is not the only money that that city council holds on to. Are you telling me that shot spotter system is so expensive, it causes so much upkeep that it's digging into your bottom line? No, it's not. Dare I say that thing probably it ain't even nowhere near your bottom line. It's probably, I personally think it's going to pay itself off. Hey, I mean, maybe just maybe it could deter a lot of these fools from going out and just randomly, not randomly, but just shooting at will. I don't think that shot spotter system is that expensive. Maybe it is, and, but that money needs to go towards that shot spotter system, and that shot spotter system needs to stay in play. It has been published. They're saying that that shot spotter system has detected over 1,383 alerts on average, and from that shot spotter system, it takes police officers 5 minutes to arrive on the scene uh, within moments of detecting the gunshots, whereas opposed to us regular citizens calling 911, and it takes a while longer. So it's paying off. If they can get there quicker and quite possibly catch who's doing the shooting, why not? They're saying the system has led to 21 guns being recovered, 22 arrests, and over 1,446 shell casings collected at scenes in Durham. Wow. Um, I I mean, like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it needs to stay. Back December the 7th, the police department, the police chief, came and asked for that 3 month extension. Apparently, the city council is going to give it, but those members are saying, and they are the majority in this voting. They're saying they're going to do away with it. They're just going to collect more data and then they decide what they're going to do. Rah rah rah, shish boom bah. That's just them going through the motions. They've already made their damn minds up. They're going to do away with the shot spotter system. So, um, good luck. And I'm not being funny. Good luck and pray for us regular citizens here in Durham. Lord only knows what's going to happen. So it looks like those that have been reelected into the city council are saying no way. It's staying. It's going away. Where it's going away. Okay. Well, like I said, that's a no for me. It's a huge no. That shot spotter system was introduced for a reason. And now it appears those that some of us have voted for and elected, the citizens of Durham, are saying, no, we're going to do away with it. We're going to divert funding elsewhere. Okay. But it didn't totally do away with it. Like I said, they're going to give it an additional 3 months. And then they're saying after that, if they decide not to do it, then it could be brought back to the table again. Hmm. Okay. All right. Ah man, I tell you, it appears I've often said that those that we elect, are they really representing the will of the people, or are they somehow, some way serving their own agenda? When I say serving their own agenda, are they those that are quite possibly are thinking another way because of something future that may come down the line at some later time as it relates to their political career? To show that they're easy and they're understanding and compassionate when it comes to minorities in these marginalized community with these food insecurities, with high crime and conviction rates, just a huge number of gun violence. Is that the reason? Um, I can't give you a definitive answer, but it seems like the more and more I think and I look and I see and I observe and I see something like this, I really do, because there's no way in the world you can convince me. There's no way you can convince me that you're in that much fear of that shot spotter system and the police overstepping their bounds that much to the point where they start stereotyping and just snatching folks up off the street again, eh, that this shot spotter system isn't a good idea. I think it is. Um, for that last statement that I made about how that was one of the big things a few years ago during this Black Lives Matter campaign. They were talking about how police in certain cities would just ride around and just snatch young black males or black males in general up. Yeah, maybe in some of the big cities, and we all know New York and their war on drugs, how they had that. They didn't have to have really any cause to just stop you from walking down the street, to stop and frisk. We all remember that. Yeah, I get it, got it, understand it. But I don't know if Durham was like that to warrant, this now big push to just defund the police and defund any tools or whatever they have in order to fight these high crime numbers, this high gun violence in these marginalized community. I just don't see the good thinking or rationale behind that. And I sure as hell don't see it with this removal of the shot spotter system. I just don't. Like I said, there's no way, no how you can convince me otherwise. Uh, there's just not, and there's no way I can co-sign with that. I just can't. I just can't. All right, let's move along here. It looks like, and this is very interesting. But if you really think about it, it was bound to happen. It looks like some states here in the United States are what they're doing is they're throwing away all the masks and pandemic gear, the little outfits they used to put on with the little booties and the the little overalls at the height of COVID. Looks like they have a huge stockpile, so they're throwing these things away. They can't sell them back, or there's very limited in the selling back, and there's really no use for them now. COVID it isn't gone away, which is it kind of leads into this next piece I'm going to talk about also. But it's somewhat under control. Folks have gotten vaccinated, and looks like I said, these states, Ohio to be specific, they're throwing away their supplies, the PPP supplies, personal protective wear supplies. They're saying it's a stockpile. It's taking up space. Now, we all remember when COVID first hit. uh, when COVID first struck and it was announced we were going into lockdown and quarantining, they couldn't get a lot of these PPP. These things had to be made. Some had to be made here in the United States, some had to be made overseas. Uh, in addition to what they're calling these PPP, they're also throwing away a huge amount of face masks, also. Hmm. So what came about, what they're saying is the cost back in 2020 with the marketing and the printing, and like I said, making of these protective clothing, it cost 20 million. So a lot of states had to pay for these protective clothing, and 3 years later, they're now having to grip. Now that the pandemic is gone or loosened, they're now having to deal with excess protective gear and ditching the supplies in droves. So they're just throwing them out. Kind of makes sense. It's something we really didn't think about, to be honest with you. Why would we? We were in the middle of a pandemic. So they aren't just throwing them out. What they're also saying is a lot of this protective clothing, um, and these stockpiles, they have expiration dates. So they're expiring. So they got to get rid of them. They're saying at a certain time, hey, with anything that expires, it loses its function in order to protect. So what Ohio has done is they've auctioned off 393,000 gowns for $2,451. And then they ended up throwing away another 7.2 million, along with expired masks, gloves, and other materials. Uh, those expiring supplies cost nearly the federal government 29 million in funding. Like I said, at the height of COVID, uh, these things weren't free. They weren't being made just for, well, they were being made for the common good of man, but somebody hey, you got to make money off it. It costs. It just does. Um, Now, what's going to happen is, like I said, a lot of this stuff they aren't just throwing away at Whelm. They're saying they're throwing a lot of stuff away that is expiring or has expired. So, um, if you need some more numbers, 18 million masks, 22 million gowns, and up to 500,000 gloves and more. Rhode Island chimed in and said, "Hey, it shredded and recycled 829 tons of PPE. Maryland disposed over 93 million in supplies. Is it a waste? Yeah, it's a waste. But at that time, you have to understand, and you got to remember, we were getting ready to go into an all-out pandemic. We didn't know what in the world was going on. When we needed these supplies, they weren't readily available. In fact, they weren't even made. You remember that? I do. I remember. Um, Something as common as face masks. A lot of this stuff that wasn't a huge supply. There wasn't a stockpile. Never thought we would see anything like this. It just did. We just didn't. Um, Now the states have came out. A lot of states, like I said, Ohio, Maryland, and these other states in Pennsylvania, it has came out and they emphasized that they distributed far more gear than they discarded and have gone to lengths to donate the leftovers. Hmm. Well, I mean, if you can't resell it, donate it before it expires, before it goes out. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't keep this stuff laying around. Um, I would say it's a waste to a certain extent, but it was needed. It just was. And we all know how things were. Like I said, at the beginning of COVID, we couldn't just couldn't get up. Didn't have anything. We weren't prepared. Now, continuation as we're talking about COVID here, it appears there's a new strand of COVID. Mm, mm, mm. Look like COVID-19, it continues to mutate and produce the different strands. What is known as the JN.1 variant. They're saying that it is a variant of the Omicron variant. We all remember that Omicron, how it did. So it's a variant of that, and they're saying there's really not that much difference from this variant and other variants. It is quite possibly could be highly transmissible. They're still determining, still gathering data, trying to figure out, what exactly how transmissible it is. As far as the symptoms go, they're saying, hey, it's pretty much just like the COVID of old. It varies, depends on the person. From the body aches, the headaches, um, the loss of taste, smell, whatever, yada yada yada, rah rah rah. It's the same thing. It's just a new variant, and it has it is, they're saying, highly transmissible from what they've seen thus far, but they're still collecting data. They really don't know. I believe it first appeared back in September or October, and it appears that it's ramping up here right at the end of the month, end of the year. Wow, it amazes me. It still amazes me that COVID is still around, different variants. Maybe this is the new common cold, if that sounds logical to some folks. Because at one point in time, years and years and years ago, they were talking about there's going to be a new common cold that's going to take out, well, a new virus that's going to take out the old common cold, is going to replace it. Maybe this is it. Just a thought, just a thought, just a thought. Oh boy, I'm going to make this kind of quick. I got to go on and skedaddle. I got things to do, things to do. But yeah, um, during the Durham City Council voting to not renew this shot spotter system, that's a no. That's a huge no. Um, Pray. Maybe at some point in time they'll finally figure it out and say, "Hey, we need it. We need it badly." I think they do. And then you got states that are throwing away the old, expired, or stockpiles of PPE leftovers from COVID. Got a new strand of COVID. It looks like life continues to roll on. It is certainly totally different as it relates to COVID and how we do things and how we view certain things. We've came out of COVID. We all remember the pandemic lockdown, the quarantining. It was odd when we first got back when we were able to move around and move about. I talked about that. There was some reluctance on my part. We have a lot of things with COVID that we know it exposed a lot as far as the mental health, um, the way of doing business, just any and everything that we were at one point in time accustomed to and were fine with. We now know because of COVID, can't do it anymore. We have to go a different route. I just wonder with all of these things they're throwing away and getting rid of, Lord knows, heaven forbids, but if it's expired, Lord knows, we may need it. And my other question is, and I would hope that COVID did teach those in this that deal with these protective clothing. They're making more and they're creating a stockpile, or they're making enough where, in case there is another outbreak, we won't have to scramble around trying to find a way or find those in foreign lands supply. We'll have our own. I hope COVID has taught those that are in charge that something as common as a pair of gloves or a face mask at one point in time wasn't readily available. It just wasn't. So I hope we've learned, like I said, we've learned a lot from COVID. I hope we remember COVID and make those necessary changes and adjustments so we won't be standing flat footed, knocked right on our, you know what, once again, scrambling around. Hey, we have to be proactive and not reactive, I think. So yeah, I hope you guys are making enough of these clothes, these PPE, personal protective equipment. Hope you're making enough. You're stockpiling it, or at least to enough that it won't expire, where you won't have to throw things away and then be. Hope it's a continuous cycle. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share. Get in that comment section. Let me know what you think. Hey, let me know what you think about this shot spotter system here in Durham. Those that are from Durham or near surrounding areas, or maybe you have a shot spotter system in your system, because Durham is not the only city. There's a lot of shot spotter systems throughout this country. Um, a lot of them are still being used, and it's a helpful tool in the fight against gun violence. I just don't think regulating who has guns, or who can get gun or access to guns, is going to stop the gun violence. Uh, I just don't. This shot spotter system is a good tool. I think it needs to stay. I just do. Hey, I know it sounds odd coming from me, but hey, I'm just a regular, degular citizen. I ain't going out here shooting the place up. I'm just not. I'm just not. But like I said, get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, thank you for listening to This Is Just a Thought with Stephen Cornegay. Amen.